As it is 8:30 and it is November 6th, this is our weekly board meeting. We start out by having public comments limited to 2 minutes per individual. Do we have any public comments besides Joe?
Yeah, I have. Out north of Batavia, 170th Street. Or
Okay.
170th.
We got the address.
And the house is at 1094. The people moved out of that house and put probably 2 truckloads of stuff in the front yard out next to the road. With this wind blowing around, it's blowing out in the fields. I live north of that. And I would like to see you folks could clean it up, get it cleaned up. I understand we've had quite a problem over here for the last couple of years, and so didn't know if I could speak now, and I talked to
You sure
you,
can speak.
and didn't know whether it could be decided on or anything right now, but in the real near future, sure appreciate it. And we've got other neighbors. I decided to come in by myself right now, but we've got other neighbors out there that are very concerned with the place.
Yeah, were you renting to these folks?
No, I was not. I'm not real sure who owns it. It was sold 2 years ago. And the farm ground was sold to another party.
Okay.
Well, according to this, it belongs to Deutschland USA Revocable Trust.
Belongs to who?
It just says Deutschland USA Revocable Trust. Their address is 2401 145th Street. So I will follow up on that if the chair would like, and we'll run it through our nuisance.
I think you should, yeah. So what Lee'll do is talk to the nuisance folks at Russ and see if they can't, what they can do about it.
Okay.
Okay. And he'll let us know what's going on.
And it's usually a process, so it might not happen overnight. We have a process they have to follow.
Okay, I understand that. Like I say, I didn't know what you folks' process was, so I thought, well, I'd see you get in here and crash a meeting.
And the other thing is, I don't know, Dwayne, if you want to have somebody drive by there and see if the,
Yeah, anything that's out in the right of way, we can.
Yeah,
clean up
yeah,
As part of the road department's duties.
yeah. It might be, we'll get into it. Might be a little slower. But we'll look at it. Okay.
Okay. I hate to stir up
Yeah, but you know,
too much, because hearsay, I heard that the fella bought it, likes to put hog buildings up. And we sure don't need that there, because there's a church out there just within a quarter mile.
where is this at?
What's the
Straight
address?
north,
it's straight north. and
straight north,
170th Street.
one,
Yeah, so it's gonna be,
it's about 5 miles from the tape.
And then you go right.
it's
And
right up here, Joe.
Okay,
Right on the edge, right close to the county
you
line.
know where I live,
yes, I do.
right straight south across the
Yeah.
field.
It helps me when I can see what part of the county they're from, you know.
That
Yeah.
map sure is handy.
It's Corey Booth live out by that way.
John Davidson used to.
Okay,
Okay, I know exactly where you're at.
we'll see what we can do. And I know you were initially talking to Dee, so if you want to follow up with Dee, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
and don't feel bad about coming in here because we can't have this after the precinct, the whole county looks like crap,
yeah,
you know.
and evidently they got the sheriff served notice to move them out, and then I heard, I shouldn't say anything where I heard, but they said the sheriff was out there
Mhm.
you're gonna contact Russ.
Yeah,
I understood that they moved it out. And I couldn't feature the sheriff having that kind of a duty to move stuff out of the house. I guess he was out there watching.
uh-huh. Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any more public comments?
I'd like to make a comment on November 14th. Yeah, 2 weeks. We're having an EMS association meeting. We'd like to invite supervisors and because the first responders and EMS association purchased 2 pediatric bags, and we kind of want to do a little PR for all of our responders out in the community and such about helping and making us be one group, ambulance and first responders, not I'm here and I'm here, we're making
Right.
it together. Like I said, we purchased that. Some of the funding did come from when we had the Madison Barns. We took the money that they got from that
I kind of wondered what they did with that
Yeah.
money.
because when we asked about the other fire and law, and they said,
Mhm.
no, you guys keep it and and get something that would be beneficial for the community. And so that's what we did. We purchased one of those bags and the association purchased another bag. So our first two rigs have bags that are fully stocked. So if we have a pediatric patient, we can take care of them without a problem.
Thank you for that. So this is the 14th?
6 o'clock, yeah,
That's
in the
six.
evening.
Thank you.
No, not 6 a.m., 6
Okay.
p.m.
Could we know where it's at?
It'll be at the ambulance. We're hoping we may have to move a rig out so we can do it out there so we can have some pictures.
Mhm.
We just like to invite you guys out.
Thank you very much for that. So any more public comments?
Yeah, this is more of a request, but wasn't able to get on the agenda Friday morning when I tried to, so I thought I'd stop up while you all three were here. Sometime I'd like to talk with you about our hiring situation right now with Brittany leaving, but it doesn't have to be during this meeting. If you've got time afterwards or this week, that's what I'm here about. But
Sure. In fact, the earlier in the day, the better, because Lou likes to get up early.
does he? He doesn't have to get up as early right now.
Damn, I hadn't heard that, but okay.
2 of us like to get up early.
Okay.
But thanks, Sean.
Okay.
I need a motion to approve the minutes from October 30th.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Meet with the county engineer.
Good morning,
you.
supervisors. That is me. First off, I'd like to thank you for coming in to notify us about that. We can't be everywhere and having people call in to let us know where there's issues that may affect the county roads is always helpful, so thank you. We have a work order system that notifies all of the crew members when we have issues that might be in their territory. But without public input, it's not nearly as effective. We can't be everywhere, so but we do try to take care of what we can when people notify us that there's issues that we missed. Still working on the guardrail on Irish Bridge. We just about got that wrapped up. And when we get that completed, we'll get over and get started on the improvements of raising Palm Avenue from a level B to level A from Glasgow Road down to where the Steel Truss Bridge is, about 2.5 miles. And that will probably take the rest of the winter and probably into spring to try and get that. But as you remember, or may remember, our goal is to decommission that Palm Avenue Truss Bridge has a 3-ton weight limit and may be ordered closed its next inspection. So we want to have alternate access for those residents there before the bridge is condemned, not after. We had our monthly safety meeting this morning with us looking towards moving out of the roads and into doing more shop work. We had our safety topic being housekeeping and a safe work environment. Just generally cleaning up after yourself and not leaving trip hazards, spills and that kind of thing, and also safety with chemicals. And I'm not sure what's going on, but it seems to be the season where people want to have fences along the edge of the road. We've sent out, I think, a half a dozen letters for people having electric fences right at the edge of the road here in the last few weeks, so.
Kind of,
It's, I understand, some folks need them for helping to move livestock. Other people use them instead of mowing their ditches, but one, it's against the state code, and we try to be fairly lenient about it, but we're getting to the time of year where we need to be grading out to the edges of the road, and then snow plowing also
mhm.
is a safety hazard. So we're cracking down on that. And then in the office, Thomas is still working on closing out construction projects, which is just mind-numbingly painful work to do. And I am grateful for his efforts and the fact that we have him. That is a job that is great to have somebody who has construction experience, because they can look at the paperwork and realize if things are reasonable or if something looks funny. So it really helps get the audits complete by having a knowledgeable young man like him. I am working on getting our bridge list for our request for quotation for inspection services put together. We've got a number of bridges that we've replaced with twin box culverts, so those won't need replacing. So I'm going through the list and kind of eliminating and paring that down based on what we've done in the past and what our bridges that will need inspected this year. And I'm also have to study for my weed applicator's license, because some genius decided I should be the county weed commissioner.
I always told you were.
No, I think it was some forward-looking individual.
Sure, we'll go with that.
But thanks for stepping up.
It's kind of like the septic tank, right? And I think that's really all I've got. We're basically working on doing our job.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Next item on the agenda is to discuss and consider supporting the green light for veterans.
We did this last year. Ray will take care of this one.
Yes, raised her hand. He,
So it looks like.
I spoke with him and he thought it was very appropriate that he do that since he was in veterans.
Right.
You know. Whereas the residents of Jefferson County have great respect and admiration and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. Whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who serve the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens. Whereas Jefferson County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing them in harm's way for the good of all. Whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, the Veteran Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as a county veteran service, officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members across access more than 52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits per year. Whereas approximately 20,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually. Whereas an estimated 20% of this increase of the service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. And whereas the studies indicate that 44-72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life. Whereas active military members service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during the first year after military service. Whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize the green light for veterans, and whereas the Jefferson County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believe specific recognition should be granted. Therefore, be it resolved that with designation as Green Light for Veterans County, Jefferson County hereby declares from November 6th of 23 through Veterans Day, November 11th of 23, a time to salute and honor the services and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight, the Jefferson County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to freedom or to preserve freedom by displaying green lights in the windows at their place of business or residence through that time.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by
Aye.
saying aye. Thank you very much. I think we often forget that veterans come in all sizes and shapes. And sometimes we don't even know they're veterans. I went until my late 40s before I figured out my mom had worked for the Atomic Energy Commission because she couldn't talk about it. So know this, anybody beside you, around you, may be applicable to this. At any rate, that's my opinion. Discuss and consider fund transfer.
It looks like this is Jefferson County has received $14,921.29 in nuisance enforcement special assessment funds. And these funds are reimbursement of expenditures made from the Rural Basic Fund for nuisance cleanup expenses.
Well, basically what happened was that the money should have been deposited in rural basic and it was deposited in the roads annex debt service fund. So it's being transferred back.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's a simple transfer. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Audience, give us time to catch up. We got to figure out who we are and sign our names. Is Joe still here? It's awful quiet. He's here. Next item is to discuss and consider Maple Street space. During one of the space meetings, we had talked about an individual, and I'm gonna go with them on Wednesday to look at the space down below to get a quote for what it's gonna take to clean it out. And I'll be letting you guys know how much that is, and if we want to proceed with that. But it is a step, we need to keep taking steps in the right direction to utilize the Maple Street building more.
So in that context, Bruce Hudson and I will contact Dave Rippey because environmental health is going to need some more file cabinets. And there are plenty of file cabinets still down there.
For sure, of course, if
Yeah. So
they're needed, because I think there's only 2 out of the roads building, isn't there?
That's what he indicated. the other
Or is
day.
that stuff that was at the roads building, or does it go with?
That's so
I see
far
it can-
before my time, I
okay.
can't tell you.
but anyway, I'm gonna, Bruce has got meetings today and we have our regular board meeting on Wednesday.
The rust board, right?
Right, but we'll get with, reach out to Dave Rippey. And, cause I checked with, ambulance, cause they were the last ones that were down there and indicated that there were still quite a few file cabinets.
Sure.
available.
Anything on that west end is Pathfinders.
West End, okay.
So what you're saying is you want us to make use of the files and stuff that we need from that source, as opposed to just take it all out, throw it away.
Right, yeah, we'll just, like I said, Dave will direct us to where his stuff is at again, and we'll go for it.
I think most of his stuff's on the east end, so
Okay.
the things in the middle are.
Lee,
That doesn't mean not to go ahead with the rest.
how'd I
of it.
get that? What is this? What's mine? Who brought this?
Somebody that ran out that shall remain nameless because I'm not happy that he didn't bring me one too.
You can have this one, just.
I don't like
shake it up
Dr.
a little
Pepper.
bit.
And is it diet? No, so you see, Joe, do you,
I don't drink pop anymore.
anyway, we had to we
And there,
digress.
along those Maple Street lines, if you talk to the folks out there that say we might be taking their space, some of their space.
I have not talked to anybody. I'm curious about whether or not it is appropriate, though, for the three of us to do a
I
walkthrough
think we
just to
should.
see what's out there. And because for me, speaking to me personally, it's kind of I don't have a picture.
Do you know if there is a blueprint of that building anywhere?
Oh, I'm sure there's something in there.
Because
I'd
it
have
would
to-
really help because last time we went through it, I tried to hand draw how many offices, but then I got
Right.
back and it was hard to read.
Do you have any expertise in figuring out a blueprint for us? It wouldn't have to be exact. We just need,
Well, I can look at blueprints.
because you can look at blueprints.
Like I said, there's a
I've been
whole
drawn one.
bushel basket full of blueprints in here. I'll just have to.
Yeah, because I think we've sat on this too long. We need to clean up Maple Street
Right.
and utilize that, or we're wasting county money. Okay,
Somebody
thank you for
told
doing
me,
that.
somebody told me, I know we talked about Bob Keeper, but somebody, maybe it was one of you guys talked about Top Notch as well.
Yeah. I just felt we should get a quote from each one, take the bottom quote.
Yeah,
That's fine.
so, okay,
Okay, moving on. Thanks for doing that. Discuss the Russ contract specifics. There's just a lot of rumors going around. What's this costing us a month? 6,500, did I hear that? And I know we're 4 months into it already. I mean, into the year, so the prior employer would have, or excuse me, employee would have used some of that money. How much is left?
the exact amount, I don't know. I can tell you that the 6,500 for the remaining length of time would total 55,000. And I think when Shannon and I went over it last week, there was about $6,000 difference. in
6,000 to the good.
No,
Oh,
no, the
okay.
other way, in terms of looking at the insurance we're not using, the social security we're not using, the IFRS we're not using, the salary we're not using.
So
But
Does
the,
And the vehicle.
and the vehicle and the fuel.
Mhm.
But that being said, we're also looking at, now this will be a decision for the Board of Health to make.
Mhm.
But Russ is going to approach the Board of Health about an increase in fees on their 16th meeting. I think you're meeting on the 16th, right, Joe? 16th of
Yes,
November, yeah.
yes.
And so also,
And then at what point will we vote on approving that increase?
well, according to the ordinance, that's the decision that's up to the Board of Health.
however, we do the
We-
overall budget responsibility. So how does that work if they raise it and we don't?
Fees are revenue. Okay,
Okay,
fees
yeah.
are revenue.
I just want to be
Right, yeah.
very clear on this.
Yeah, but as far as establishing what the fees are, falls under the jurisdiction of the Board of Health.
Right.
Sure.
But the
Okay.
bottom line needs to
And
remain
so
the
then
same.
they'll look at that just like they would any, if Dan was still here or whatever. So he in the past estimated the number of permits that he was going to issue for the fiscal year. And then multiplied times
Mhm.
what the permit fee is.
Yeah.
That would be an increase. Coupled with the fact that according to what Bruce is, and I think he's talked to Joe, there's some 16 letters that they sent out almost immediately. Some of them, some permits that have expired as much as 13 years old. that haven't been done and taken care of, or that at least they don't have any documentation
Yeah.
of such. So they are following all of that up. So there is a potential there, I say a potential, because it still has to be determined whether Susie did hers, if, whatever. We
It's
don't
a
have-
giant mess.
It is at this point, but potentially there's about $7,500 sitting there, because those permits will have to be reissued. Plus, during the fiscal year, during construction season, we'll be issuing more construction permits predicated upon the budget, what he estimates. I don't know exactly what those numbers are going to look
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but the fact is that it probably, I'm not terribly concerned about being able to hit the benchmark, but we're only looking at possibly, we probably will have an answer before the last month of the fiscal year, but what I'm saying is that we are good to the last month of the fiscal year.
So my concern again.
Now, there's going to be other expenses that are going to be associated with
I
the
know.
change.
But the first thing I heard was, this will not cost us more, this will be cheaper to use, Russ, and so that's not true.
No, it won't in the context. So for example, the budget this year is $94,000.
Thank you.
Okay,
Been trying to
that's the
find out.
budget that was submitted. Then there's some change, 94 and some change, but round
Sure,
here is 94,000. And so the contract is 78. So essentially, there's $16,000 that the Board of Health has. Also keep in mind that Russ will be much more diligent in the grants to counties dollars, as well as the what's the word I'm looking for? There's other funds that, well closings and that sort of thing that will generate revenue. Now, the grants to counties, I don't pretend to understand all of it because I've not really been involved with it. But for example, right now, Dan has in his budget $900, I think it is, budgeted for equipment. But there's another $1,000 out there in grants to counties.
So basically, if I just think about the money,
Right,
we have Dan was here for 4 months.
right.
So whatever our budget was, let's say 94, minus what Dan has spent, what's left? Can
That portion of what's left of Dan's, just strictly Dan's salary and benefits.
Right.
Okay, it's about $6,000 short of covering the $55,000.
Okay. Where did you get the idea? I don't mean to be snotty.
No.
Where did we ever get the idea that this wouldn't cost us anymore, like going with Russ?
Well, I don't know what you mean by cost anymore.
Well, I guess I didn't think it was gonna cost any more. I thought we were gonna use the leftover funds.
Well, what the county has in place is there was a payout to Dan of over $9,000.
In my rumor mill, I heard 20,000, so,
Yeah, his last
and
year.
I know Darcy just said 8 something, close to 9, so.
Okay, yeah. So his salary, his being Dan's, was $45,000. The insurance that was budgeted was $13,030. And then whatever IPERS and Social Security pencils out to, I don't know.
Yeah, and so we wouldn't count that anymore because it's done.
Right, so.
I think we made a big mistake. When he said he was retiring, we should have walked him out that day.
Well, that's a conversation that,
It's just me being annoying
well,
about the
right,
money.
but the reality
Now,
of the
I'm not
situation
really
is
annoying. I
that
don't say I am.
the three of us couldn't have walked him out. It would have been up to the Board of Health.
That's correct. That's correct. But
Left
they
us
didn't do
hanging.
it.
Immediately. Nobody to take over.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that the payout would have still existed because under county, what do you
Handbook.
call it, policies or handbooks.
Up to 250 hours.
Well, he gets 30% of whatever accumulated sick leave he has. If he's worked the number of years, the number of requisites years, which is 15. So he had to be 15, and then he gets 30% of whatever his,
Leftover is.
well, whatever so say he has banked, if you will, 100 hours of sick leave. He gets 30% of that. So he would have gotten 30 hours
So a normal person.
plus his any vacation that he accumulated. I don't know.
Yeah, I just. Yeah, in all sincerity, his personal situation was terrible. And I can't imagine he didn't use all the time he could.
Well, there again, it's to some extent you're on the
Yeah.
honor system
Yeah,
in terms of,
Joe,
So,
do you know how's the Board of Health track that? Or is it up to Darcy?
You track what hours he's
Yeah.
using when he turns in his timesheet.
whenever I've asked that question, when I first started, I was told the Board of Health Chair was he was supposed to report to that, and I've never felt comfortable with a county employee reporting to a volunteer chair. I'm happy people volunteer, but I think it should be
Yeah.
some county employee they report to.
I
That's a
just
state of
think we have
law. That's,
situation
Well-
where we might be able to improve it from now
But that's
on.
a
that's
state of
another
law
thing that will
issue.
change
but
now.
that's something that the Board of Health should really start doing, is having the accountability.
I realize that, and I was asking lots of questions and
Oh, I know you
sometimes
are.
getting hostile answers and stuff. and-
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that will change now through the contractual agreement is that you've got this flat rate. So there won't be any submitting for vacation hours, whatever.
Right,
And.
it's
so
much
Board-
easier to track, in other
Right.
words.
And I promise you, in Bruce's name, but I promise you, which he has said the same thing, that the Board of Health will be apprised of everything that's going on. It's something that he,
But as they should be.
right, absolutely.
And we worked with Bruce on nuisance for years, and he's done a fabulous job. I think he will do a great job.
I will also tell you that, I don't know how many of you may or may not know of Corey Frank. But Joe's met Corey. Corey oversees our area, if you will, as far as the DNR and enforcement. And he was tickled pink that the change was being made,
Yeah.
as is Burdette. Burdette is the Iowa Department of Public Health. She indicated to our Board of Health, a meeting that I attended, that her other 3 counties that she has, or the 3 counties that Russ is in, let me put it that way, I don't know how many counties she has,
Sure.
which is Louisa, Henry, and Des Moines. She is glowing reports of, we're all aware of, the Board of Health is aware that Russ is aware that there's going to be some growing pains with some contractors, but the other thing too is that a majority of the contractors that provide services in Jefferson County currently work with Russ and those other counties. So it won't be something new for them. But I will tell you, if the county is interested in the partnership that will be created and the enforcement of the code as it's written uniformly across the board. Russ isn't going to go out with a hammer, and that's not the point. But the point is that they will work with anybody and everybody, but it is going to be according to the code, and you're not going to have permits that expired 13 years ago that do not have documentation and things of that nature.
They'll run a tight ship.
Do what?
They'll run a tight ship.
Yes, they will. And part of the reason for that, quite simply, is because they don't want it to come back and bite them in the butt.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's just the way that. it
Lee, if I
is.
can, nothing to do with this, nothing to do with our Board of Health at all. But Benton County walked their whole board out.
Yeah.
I wonder why that was.
Liza had some similar, but in this case, I we all can have discussions about, and I'm going to kind of speak generically about changes that need to be made and recognize that changes need to be made, but sometimes making those changes can be very, very difficult when personnel are involved. And, when you're.
How do I know that?
Yeah, and so when you're not, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're not in a paid position to make those decisions, it makes those decisions even more difficult.
Yeah,
And then given circumstances that existed for the last 2.5 years, without going into details in terms of individuals and their, the personal life, you tend to be, I guess I'd say a little more forgiving or whatever, but when you're both right, when you look at the big picture, those difficult decisions, I think what you'll see now is, what, not I think, I know what you'll see now is a greater accountability of what's going on. It's something that we haven't had in the past. I do believe that there are some, I guess I'd say water under the bridge now, because it's in the past, but the problems that Henry County had with their sanitarian and the legal issues surrounding that. I personally feel like that we were maybe not up to our neck in it, but we were certainly up to our waistline in it. And so again, I think it goes back to an accountability issue. This is something that we will not have this problem moving forward. That I guarantee you.
But
It is the hope, and let's just hope it's that way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more comments on that thread?
Oh, I do want to point out, this has been several months back, but Joe, shortly after he was appointed to Board of Health, at my request, made a trip to Henry County met with Bruce in one of our board meetings, and got to know the organization and so on and so forth. So Joe has been involved, which is a good thing as well.
Duly noted.
So anything that happens is Joe's fault.
It looks like we're hiring more ambulance people. First
Good
one is
morning.
discuss and consider hiring Adam Melcher. Is he already
Yes.
working for you guys?
I'm sorry?
Is he already working for you guys?
No, no, not yet.
Because I said somebody told me they saw him at the ambulance ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
Standing in line to be
He's gone
special.
out there as a,
Firefighter.
yes,
Yeah, well, okay, I'm just asking. He
No,
Brian.
sorry.
Okay. I just wondered.
no,
Yeah.
he's not.
Okay. He's a good guy.
Yes, he is.
Okay, tell us what you want to do.
To build our bench,
so are
New
these
federal law.
like at PRN?
PRN, yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Very good.
Are they working somewhere now
Yes, they have other jobs, and so they're looking to come on PRN
to pad
as
their
needed.
income?
Well, it's
Not bad,
it's
you know,
somebody to
Rob,
call
I'm
if somebody calls in sick and you need somebody in a
We've
short
had that
notice
happen
or-
numerous times,
Yeah.
such as late last night. And with the holidays coming up, we've got people scheduling time off, so this just
Yeah.
builds our bench.
And it means they have no regularly scheduled hours, so it's not
Correct.
like you're promising.
And
them.
they'll just fill in.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's
And-
all of these.
And they've all got their
Yes.
Physicals
they've
done,
all-
they've
all
been
got their
turned
physicals
into-
done, yes.
Darcy.
I don't know if she's received them yet. We haven't received anything.
Yeah.
Okay, if not, I'll look. and see.
Please, and no matter who it is, you hire them, get
Yes,
the drug screens to her.
yes. Background checks.
Yeah,
Been done,
absolutely.
and the back assessments and things like that.
Are these all EMTs?
2 are paramedics and one's 2 are EMTs with
So can I ask,
Melcher.
what is Adam?
Adam Melcher?
Yeah.
He's an EMT. He's
Okay.
also a firefighter.
What about Janice
She's EMT,
Farley?
yes.
Okay. And what about John Malone
He's a paramedic. He has 10 years experience.
and Rob Kendall?
CCP, 10 years experience.
Problem is, I don't have that many names in here.
Pardon me?
Which ones do you have?
I have Adam Melcher,
Okay,
Janice, and Robert.
you don't have John.
Nope, I do not. And it looks like it was crossed out for some reason.
Okay, well,
Not on my thing, so
No,
I'll get what you need and find out
these.
why.
there's only 3 here.
I was just going by the
Yeah.
agenda. It obviously isn't correct.
So,
So we just have 3 to add because we only have.
yes, if that's.
So again,
that's
can I
correct.
ask you, are you guys utilizing everybody that
Yes,
you've
we
hired?
are, everybody.
Because the more you utilize everybody, the less overtime we
That's
have.
correct. Yes, ma'am. And that's why we're trying to build our bench.
And if I was you, I would keep taking applications,
Oh, absolutely. Yes, and-
because you never know when you're gonna get irritated and walk out the
Oftentimes,
job.
when people call in last minute, I'm right around the corner, and as you know, I'm on the truck and always available, so.
Are you always there?
Just about,
We're getting our money's worth, didn't you say?
absolutely.
It's also going to be Santa Claus.
Yeah, and I know that Lee and I stopped by too much. I hope that doesn't bother you.
No, come on.
Do I have a motion for these hires?
Should we take them individually?
I do not, I do care. Just do individual.
Okay, I make a motion to hire Adam Melcher, PRN, as for an EMT position.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to hire Janice Farling.
I'll make a motion to hire.
Second.
James.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Next one's Robert Kindle. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to hire Robert Kendall for PRN paramedic CCP.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
How many critical care paramedics does that give us now?
8.
Can I ask another question?
Yes,
How many of these people are getting the 24/24?
I'm sorry,
How many people are getting the 24/24 shifts?
the 48 hours?
Yeah. Because I know when we
6 and
started it
6.
originally, it was like, I think it was 7 people getting that.
Correct. And that's still the same.
Okay.
As of today, we've done 188 calls. We just did 3 more, so that's 191. 36 so far for the month of November, but that's going to 39. We just got 2 more transfers out of the hospital that he just went on straight in. We have IMSA coming up this week. Judy and I will be attending along with the medical director, and that's from the 9th to the 11th.
Where's this at?
Des Moines.
Okay, we're gonna skip committee reports for right now and the claims for right now. What else you're next on the list. What would you like to talk about?
That's it. Number of calls. We've had 21 transfers from the hospital so far. We just had 2 more drop all ago. Automation for our billing department was implemented a couple days ago. And so everything, once we hit to bill, the system kicks in and transports it all the way to the billing company.
So I haven't heard from Steve today. Is the countertop in yet?
Steve just called me and I'm going to meet with him in about 15-20 minutes.
So that means it's there and he's gonna put in.
God willing, yes.
What about the plug-in?
We're going to talk about that as well when he comes out there.
Because we need it done.
Yes.
I'll talk to him because
Yes.
we need it done so we can finish up the cost of the building.
Right.
Plus get you guys in good place.
Yes. And we appreciate that. So. But
Because the moment we
everything's
do
going
it and all that's done, we're gonna have a bunch of snow.
Hey, don't have the counter put in until spring.
You know, I've been thinking if we could just stick a supervisor out in the snow ground, we can just judge how many inches we've got.
I volunteer you.
Yeah. Be a light snow, you're no taller than I am.
I didn't see that. joke.
I know you did.
Okay, nothing else.
Nothing.
And I think there's been some chatter about us not putting those two vehicles that we want to get a bid on out at your place. So you're the director, so I'm asking you, is there a problem with putting them out there?
What would we put on?
Parking lot.
Okay.
It's a lot of visibility for us, but if you don't want to do it,
It'd be kind of weird. I already had somebody stop by and say, hey, is this do y'all detail cars? I'm like, not that I'm aware of.
It's across the street.
but it might be a way to make some money.
You're the chair and hey, I'll go with what you think. So
Anyway, I just wanted,
it's all good.
we had talked about putting the vehicles out there so people be easier for people to look at them
Right.
once they know they're possibly for sale.
Okay.
And I had heard some chatter from the ambulance that they didn't want to do that. I just thought I'd ask you.
I haven't said anything, so, but
Okay,
I mean, if you want to, we can do it.
well, either that or McDonald's, and it's pretty close, and at least not there anymore, so we have to go Burger
Right.
King.
Yeah, I just, it is what it is.
Anyway, committee reports. Thank you, Brian.
Yes.
Thank you.
Don't need just, yeah.
I didn't have any last week since it was the 5th week and the first week. There's no really.
So in the ambulance vein, I'm gonna ask the board too. I had a conversation with Kevin.
Are you talking to the
Friday.
guy that's doing the ambulance?
Ambulance, yes.
I heard we weren't gonna get it till January
Yeah,
now.
that's what he's telling me.
Mhm.
And so we talked for a long time. So one of the things I'd like for the board, I'd like to put on next week's agenda just to discuss and consider. We're probably 2 years out on a new ambulance. And so I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, but in the context of that conversation and talking with Kevin, we talked about options. I have mixed emotions, and that's why I wanted to have the conversation with you all, because we can trade the 2016 in. We can take the box off 2016 and put it on the new rig, which he's talking about 2025 chassis.
I think we should have this on the agenda next week.
Right, I'm just wanting, to know the direction that we were going. So there's also the options of selling it outright. And so, but I do think that it behooves the county to think about, I'll give you a week to think about it and have some more conversation, to think about getting it ordered sooner than later to get it at today's prices, if you will, rather than a year from now.
Well, plus if it takes 2 years, which
Yeah,
I will.
he's gone 18 months to 2
Yeah.
years. So anyway, that's
Okay, do you have any committee reports?
just that.
I would have had the safety committee, but they postponed it till this week. So I guess there's none of that. So
We do have DCAT tomorrow if you're not doing anything.
no, I would hate to interfere with you when they do that committee. So we need to look at the claims and then, thank you, Brian.
I think I've got ECI this month too.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Proud of you. We shall make a resolution of thanking you for your service.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. This one ought to actually be probably one of the more interesting meetings.
I've been signing the book, so I've been going back a long ways and looking.
Yeah.
Yep.
I learned a long time ago to do that quite frequently because it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't have that far to go back.
I got a bill, Sean. I took it over to Chauncey for $5,500 and some change. Jackson Point Limited Partnership. For taxes, I'm assuming that's that company that did the, and I'm assuming also normally that the investment company is the one that used to pay that bill. So I gave it to Chauncey. That's all I can tell you about it. He asked me if we paid that bill, and I said, we never have in the past that I'm aware of. So
It's probably not good.
and as far as I know, he hasn't heard anything from Mr. Burns. So I don't know where we're at in that. Did find out quite by accident that First Resources is selling the crisis home,
Selling what?
the crisis home.
Oh,
They can't staff it, so they're looking to put it somewhere where they're more likely to be able to staff it. Which I don't know where that would be. It's across the street north of Moglice.
I did not know that's where it was.
Originally it was gonna be out here on East Burlington.
I knew that.
maybe they publicized it for that reason.
Do they own that house?
At one point belonged to Tenco, but when First Resources took over Tenco, all of that, all those assets reverted or became First Resources property.
They're new ones, right? They're not in here.
Does Tenco pay property tax then on that, like that house?
Question. I don't have an answer for it. I'll find out.
It's a government entity, right?
No, private, so my
Well,
guess
then
is,
they would pay.
yeah. Now, clarify, they did receive state and federal funding, but they are a private entity.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve $149,079.02.
A friendly amendment wrong to 2 cents. Second.
All the motion and a second, all those in favor to approve the bills and reports?
I
So how's your
Motion moved.
Dr. Pepper?
Huh?
How's your Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. Damien brought it.
do we need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So it-
All those in
Has it been
favor,
open?
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good job.